It all started in January 2010 when I got a call from Scott Goran. And I've known Scott for, man, over 30 years. You know, we've been friends. He played on a couple of my solo records. And we talk from time to time, as friends do, and he called me up, and I thought he's just calling me up and say, hey man, how's it going, how you doing, how's the family, blah, 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 blah. So he called me, he said, hey man, how's it going, how you doing, how's the family? I went, that was great, Scott, you know. I'm putting Thin Lizzy back together and I want you to sing. Boom. I was like, what did you just fucking say? He says, bud, I'm putting Thin Lizzy back together, bud, and I want you to sing. And I went, how? How's that what? Blah. He said, you want to do it or not? I went, well, yes. And, you know, then my head exploded and I went off into a different universe, and I didn't hear a fucking word he said after that for the entirety of the phone call. You know, I was just like, fuck. And I got off the phone. I think he was explaining to me about how he wanted to present the band and to honour Phil and all that good stuff. And I put the phone down and sort of fell to the floor and went, what the fuck have I just agreed to do? How the hell am I ever gonna do this? And my heart was going like crazy. And I phoned up my wife and I said, Scott's just called me and he's putting Lizzy back together. And I said yes, but I don't know if I should have said yes. Because like all of you, I'm a fucking massive Thin Lizzy fan. They're my band, you know, I grew up with them. I'm fucking Irish, they mean the world to me. And she said, look, you know, give it a go, and if it feels wrong, then stop. And I went, okay, that's good advice. And there was one other person whose opinion I really trusted on, and it was a guy called Del James. Del works for Guns N' Roses, has done for many, many years, and is a Thin Lizzy aficionado. And I called up Del and I said to Del, what do you think? And he says, you absolutely have to do it. I went, okay. Then I thought, how the fuck am I gonna do this? Because Phil Lynott is the lead singer of Thin Lizzy. End of. There is no other lead singer. He is, he was, and he always will be. Nobody else can be the lead singer of Thin Lizzy. This is my opinion, and that's it. He's the greatest rock and roll frontman that ever fucking lived. And I would never, ever be crass enough or facetious enough to think that I could stand anywhere fucking near those shoes. But guess what? The music doesn't fucking die.
No.
What artist creates music that wants it to die when he dies? It doesn't make sense. You write something that you want to be eternal, that will go on forever, that people will listen to, that will affect people hundreds of years after you're gone. That's why you fucking do it. You know, art is timeless. That's why it's art. So, I just want to put it from a fan perspective. I don't go on fucking Facebook. I don't go on any of the Thin Lizzy sites and go, oh, fucking lead singer of Thin Lizzy, look at me, aren't I great? Because I'm not, and that's not my style. I'm a fucking fan, like everybody else. And I get to sing those songs that Phil wrote, and that is a huge honor and a privilege that I never, ever take for granted. And I never will. And the best thing that happened that validated the whole thing for me, we were playing in Dublin for the first time. And you know, it's a hometown show. And I am fucking shitting it. It's a sold out show, the Olympia Theatre in Dublin. And then we get word that Phil's mum, Philomena's coming to the show that night. And I'm like, fuck. You know? Wow. I'm now really fucking terrified. And we're doing the show, and we're playing, and it's a great show, and it's going really well. And I just think, am I doing okay? Am I doing okay? Don't fuck up, don't forget the words, you know, just do your best. And she's up in one of the boxes to my left, and she's such a, I mean, you've always seen pictures of her, such a gracious, glamorous looking lady. And I could see her, but I didn't want to look at her because it would freak me out. And we finished with Black Rose, and we were taking the bow, and I looked up, and she was standing up, huge smile on her face, applauding. I thought, great. She likes the show. By the way, you two were in the other box over there, so there was no fucking pressure at all. And we went off stage and we got changed, and there was an after show, and I walked into the after show and she's sitting there and she's holding court, she's got a table around her. And she stands up and she waves me over. And I had my wife with me and I said, Tina, can you just give me a minute? I'm going to go and talk to Philomena here. And I walked over and I thought, fuck, what's she going to say to me? You know, what do I say to her? You know, knowing how much Philip meant to her. And she gave me the biggest hug and she said, my Philip would have loved every second of that show. The power and the passion and the soul that you put into his tunes, he would absolutely have loved it, and you did him proud. And I went, like a fucking baby. I started bawling my eyes out. And she gave me the biggest hug. And she just said, it's a great thing. She said, Philip loved rock and roll, and you're keeping the spirit going. And that was all the validation I needed. That's all I needed right there, to know that, you know, what I was doing was a good thing. Because it's about the music. It's about the kid that never got to see Thin Lizzy because he was too young. It's about the older guy that just didn't have the money to go and see Thin Lizzy. It's about the kid that saw them seeing us doing it for the first time and going out and buying the Thin Lizzy catalogue. It's about the granddad bringing his son and his grandkid to the Lizzy shows for the first time. They hear the fucking music, the gospel of Phil that goes on. And it's just timeless, and it's precious, and it's brilliant, and that's how I feel about it. Anyway, thank you very much for coming out. I'm going to play a couple of other songs, one or two. You might know them, you might not. We have some t-shirts, we have some CDs, some posters and stuff for sale with my good friend Mr. Nicholas Costademus just out there around the corner. Please purchase something if you can. It all goes to a very, very good cause. Me. Thank you for your support and your loyalty. I will be hanging out there afterwards. I'm not going to disappear. Please come and say hello. It'd be great to talk to you all. And look after yourselves. Be safe. Be well. I think I'm going to do Bound for Glory, if that's okay. Yeah. And then maybe one Almighty One, and then I'll probably finish with an ABBA song, just because we're here in Sweden. Why are you laughing? Great story about writing Bound for Glory. I'll tell you quickly while I'm tuning up. Scott Gorman and Marco Mendoza went for a Chinese meal when we were on tour in England. And they walked into this Chinese restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant was a massive Thin Lizzy fan, and he recognized Scott, and he just lost his shit. And he's just like, oh my God, Scott Gorman's my restaurant, blah, blah, blah. And he gave them all free food and drink all night, and he was his favorite song was Southbound. And he was saying, oh, I play guitar, and you know, I really wanted to be in a rock band, but it's my Chinese restaurant, and I'm kind of stuck here, and I love Lizzy. Lizzy means so much to me and everything to me. And Scott came back and told me this, and I just thought this was great. And the guy's name was Johnny Wong. And I thought, well, that's a fucking rock and roll name if ever there was one, you know? And so that inspired the first line of the song, you know? Johnny Wong keeps trying to get it right way down in Suckerville tonight, so. One of the first songs we ever wrote for Black Star Riders. Johnny Wong keeps trying to get it right. Way down in Suckerville tonight. When darkness falls on the neon lights, he feels like walking dynamite. And he knows he can never win. He's just trying to lose a little more slowly. We're bound for glory. Last but never lonely, bound for glory. We're bound for living on the edge, bound for glory. The righteous and unholy, desperation always tells a story. I would have rebuilt Jericho for nights as good as this. Another shot of redemption in its taste in every kiss. Elvis in the back room, and Jesus on the wall. Mary's on the whiskey, and the shadows in the hall. Bound for glory, lost but never lonely. Bound for glory, we're bound for living on the edge. Bound for glory, righteous and unholy. Desperation always tells a story. We all know we can never win. I'm trying to lose a little more. Gotta get through this world, free as I trying. Ride that downtown train, hellbound for glory. We're bound for glory, lost but never lonely. Come on, bound for glory. Bound for living on the edge. Bound for glory, lost but never lonely. Bound for glory, bound for living on the edge. Bound for glory, lost but never lonely. Bound for glory, we're bound for living on the edge. Bound for glory, righteous and unholy. Desperation always tells a story. Oh.